it isn't enough just to add a B2B section to your website and go, right, that's going to work now. I've got a couple of B2B customers already, and now I've got an online piece.
You're listening to the Keep Optimizing podcast to increase your traffic, improve your conversion rates, and grow your profits.
Hello and welcome. I'm Chloe Thomas, the host of this e-commerce marketing focused podcast. If you're not familiar, well, our format is each month we focus on a different marketing method like email or SEO or Facebook ads, and each week I interview a different expert to explore the latest advice on making it work for you. This month we're all about omnichannel expansion, which, it's not technically a marketing method, but it is a very powerful way of growing your sales. We've gone through the big picture of omnichannel expansion, i.e. the whys and the wherefores. We've looked at physical retail, we've looked at selling overseas, and we've looked at marketplaces. This time, we're wrapping up the whole series with B2B e-commerce. Yes, selling your product to businesses instead of consumers. We've got the brilliant Alex from SparkLayer joining us, an obvious go-to for this big, impressively complicated topic. Alex does a brilliant job of taking us through the key things you need to get right if you want to make this sales channel a success. Lots of kind of slightly, oh my God, really? Moments coming up, and lots of great insight. This really is a great one to listen to if you're looking to expand or to start on your B2B e-commerce journey. Make sure you listen right to the end of the episode, because at the end of the interview, Alex will be sharing some quick-fire insider tips to help you maximize the performance of your business. And then I'll be sharing my take on it all and outlining some other free ways, and not entirely free ways, we can help you to improve it even more. So stay tuned to the end. Shopify recently turned the tables on me and took me from interviewer to interviewee, knowing, as they do, that the most successful retailers today are those that bridge the gap between online and offline and make it a seamless experience. Shopify wanted my thoughts on how to achieve truly connected commerce, particularly in the key areas of local selling, omnichannel selling, and cross-border selling. You can read my thoughts along with other commerce experts from Germany, France, Spain, and Italy by visiting keepopt.com/Shopify and downloading the report. That's keepopt.com/Shopify. In this episode, I'm chatting with omnichannel expansion expert Alex Weston. Alex leads the commercial strategy for SparkLayer B2B, a fast-growing e-commerce B2B offering which helps you to manage and grow your wholesale customer base. Hello, Alex.
Hey, Chloe, how are you?
I'm good. It's lovely to catch up with you, as it always is, and so cool we actually get to do it as a podcast.
I know. I'm honoured, honestly, as a long-time listener of your podcast. It's an honour to be here.
Very cool to have you here and to be talking about a topic that is close to my heart because I wrote a whole book on the subject. So it's good to be doing this one with you. How did you end up in the world of B2B e-commerce?
I definitely sort of fell into e-commerce generally. I started off at an email marketing platform called Bronto back in the day.
We've all got those Bronto dinosaurs somewhere.
We handed out 600 of them at Ecom Expo one year. Yeah, I know. Then I ended up at Brightpearl, which was brilliant, and we did a load of stuff at Brightpearl, a lot of partnership stuff. So I was there for a long time. There was an element of B2B e-commerce that came in at Brightpearl. And then the opportunity came up to come to SparkLayer. So I knew Chris and Reese, the two founders. When I left Brightpearl, there was a chance to come here, and that's how I ended up doing the B2B side of things here at SparkLayer, really. So yeah, like I said, I sort of fallen into e-commerce and then sort of forged a path from email marketing to back office to now sort of front end on the website with B2B. So
do you find that wide experience of talking to so many brands trying to solve different challenges has really helped you deal with the B2B e-commerce challenge, which I think is actually, it's one where brands can get it really wrong if they don't make the right decisions at the beginning. Has it helped you to help them through that journey?
Yeah, definitely. I think in particular both really. The Brightpearl side of things definitely is a big help. I think the back office complexity that comes with, especially if you're doing B2C and B2B and other channels, that back office piece it can be a real minefield, and understanding how Brightpearl can help that has now allowed me to get a better understanding of, where customers have other back office systems, how that kind of leans into the website and how they can really make the most of that. So yeah, I think for sure, like that journey has helped me to carve this path, but understand B2B in a better way, because it is complex, and it, as you say, it can go pretty horribly wrong on occasions.
We're going to give people some advice to make sure it doesn't go horribly wrong shortly. But first off, it feels like B2B e-commerce is having a bit of a boom time at the moment. Like, I know my audience are more likely to be selling B2B in one form or another than they are to be selling on marketplaces, which I've known for 2 years and still blows my mind every time I say it out loud. Why do you think it's such an important channel for brands to consider now?
I think it just gives you such breadth. It gives you the ability to acquire more customers. You can sell to businesses who already have a cohort of end customers that you can then acquire and get in touch with. It's scalable. You don't have to get out there and find as many customers as you do from the direct to consumer side. And ultimately, I think it just gives someone a really economical way to do things and to basically sell their products and get out into more markets. So I think from that point of view, B2B has probably always been something that people have been really interested in trying to do as part of their business model. But what I think is probably more apparent recently is how much easier it's become to do that online. And that's the thing that I think is having more of its boom period. Is everyone, or not everyone, but a lot of merchants that we speak with have done B2B for a long time over the phone or manually or through email or whatever it might be. Now it's become easier to actually do that online. And that's the thing that's really, really changed.
Do you think, and feel free to tell me I'm going off on a totally ridiculous tangent here if you want to, but it strikes me that the arrival of Fair in the marketplace, which is like massively financially incentivized brands to start playing around with wholesale, has raised the noise about it and the appetite for it, and is giving brands a little bit of a taster, and then they're going, okay, this is nice, but it's quite restrictive because it's only on the one platform. And actually, if we want to do this properly, we can build bigger relationships. Do you think that's helping with the growth of it as well? Because people are kind of dipping their toes in the water.
100%. Like, we see a lot of brands that are on Fair, they want to do Fair and have their own website and that kind of thing. Yeah, 1,000%. Like, Fair is a really good way of starting out to do the wholesale bit. It's a good way to get your toe into the water. You can build a really good wholesale business selling on Fair. It's a great way to acquire customers. But exactly as you say, the natural progression of that is that, okay, now I've got this really good model that I know works. Now I want to own my customer relationship. I want to bring that into my own branding. I want it to match the rest of my experience that I've got from all my other channels as well. Or how do I do that? I know that it works well online. I know that people want to buy online. It's working for me through Fair. I've got something else that works really well. I've got a really good experience from a website point of view. Do these two things marry together? And that's what people are kind of exploring, I think, from a B2B point of view. But Fair is definitely a huge catalyst for that. And I think that's why you see other e-commerce platforms also start to try and tap into B2B. And so you see BigCommerce and Shopify with their own B2B offerings as well. You know, like there's others out there also that are strong on the B2B side too. So there's a reason why they're tapping into that market. It's a huge market to tap into as well. It's like trillions of dollars, I think.
I know. I think the whole of this month, when we're diving into the Omnichannel, it's very much about how do you reduce risk in your business? How do you find alternative routes to market? But it's also about how do you find customers that wouldn't otherwise hear about you? And I think wholesale is where, you know, selling your product to other retailers to sell is such a brand expansion project, as well as a financial growth project. It delivers on arguably more levels, I would argue, than starting to sell on eBay or Amazon or something like that.
Yep, I'd agree with that. I think the lift to get there is probably bigger. And I think in some regards, it's probably for some merchants more of a challenge than they ever expect, because as you say, you have to position yourself completely differently if you're going to sell to another business. They need to know how they're going to sell it. You need to be able to provide them with the materials to be able to sell your product on your behalf, to be able to ask questions if they need to know what to mark it up to all of those things are important factors when you're going to sell to other businesses. It is not the same as just selling to end consumers or, you know, selling that through a marketplace. So exactly right. It's a big consideration, but a big opportunity.
So let's get into it then. If someone is thinking of expanding their B2B activities, or they're thinking of starting a B2B journey, what are those things, those key things they need to know about in advance and make decisions about? Where, I guess what I'm trying to say is, where do you find your customers having screwed up unintentionally by just not even knowing that, you just mentioned point of sale and training for your retailers, which may not have occurred to someone. So what are the key avenues they need to look at to make sure they're setting themselves up to do this well?
I honestly think the first big mistake that I see a lot of merchants make is they think that just setting up your website to do B2B is enough. And it kind of ties into, I know it kind of ties into what I was just saying around the marketing and the messaging being quite different. It isn't enough just to add a B2B section to your website and go, right, that's going to work now. I've got a couple of B2B customers already, and now I've got an online piece. You have to think about how you're going to invite customers to come onto the platform, bring them on to adopt it, how you're going to train them to use that system, how you're going to go and recruit more customers, how you're going to market to them, how you're going to acquire some more B2B customers, where do they exist, how do you go after them? There has to be a plan around doing those things. So I think that is mistake number one. Like, countless times I've seen people just go, I'm just going to use something like SparkLayer, I'm going to add a B2B section to my website, and then they will come. Right? Like,
See, when you said that the first time, I laughed because in my first ever book, which was written, I don't know, like 2007 or something, which was the time where lots of businesses were putting up an e-commerce website and just expecting some sales to come in.
Right.
And it's exactly the same thing. It's like, no, that's just the site. You've still got the marketing, the sales, the strategy, the content. Everything still has to be put together. So yeah, it amuses me we are still making that mistake.
Yeah, agreed. And I guess, like, to then expand on a second point is to understand how your customer wants to buy and what they want to buy from you from the website, and that could be different to how a different customer wants to buy and what they want to buy directly from you through the phone or whatever that might be. So understanding your customer, their buying journey, and then setting up your experience to accomplish that is absolutely essential. So I would say those are the two main things, the two main mistakes that I see is just setting up a website and hoping that people will come, and then setting up a website but not actually thinking about what it is your customer wants from that website from a B2B perspective. Those two things are just absolutely, you can't do that. It just never works.
I love the fact you're bringing up the customer experience, because I think it's so hard to get B2B e-commerce experience right, because you've got human beings who have all the same needs when they're a business buyer as they do when they're a consumer buyer. So they still want a good-looking website, easy to use, has all this normal functionality. And then they have a whole host of annoying B2B, or not annoying, but B2B requirements. Like they might want POS materials that they can download, like point of sale, everybody. So, things to put in the shop to explain the product. They might want payment terms. They might want a space they can log in and download invoices and manage things. They may need PO numbers to make the purchases. They might need all the specs and spec sheets of your product to buy in units, or to delivery information agreed up front. There's so much extra stuff. Yeah. That, you said about they've just created a little B2B space on their normal website. And I've seen people who've just gone, oh yeah, we added a discount code if you bought more than 10.
I know. And it's like, oh.
It's a starter point. And if you've got somebody who's come to you who's really keen, who desperately wants to stock your product, they'll probably put up with it and make it work. But if you want to proactively grow that channel, you've got to put in place what they need. What are the most obvious things to give people a starting point on this?
I mean, honestly, you've just listed off some of the absolutely key things yourself. So things like being able to display in pack sizes, or like mandate that customers have to buy in pack sizes, for example, quantity-based discounting. So the more that I order, the lower the unit price would be. Being able to pay in different ways. So pay by invoice, like you say, net terms, sometimes still being able to pay on account, also requesting a quote. That's not uncommon within the B2B space either. access to things like the spec sheets, being able to buy big lists of products all in one go. There's a whole raft of different things. Being able to add to the cart in a CSV upload so that you could basically bulk add all of the items to the cart.
So half the audience has just gone, what? They want to upload a spreadsheet?
Right. But seriously, like you would think, oh God, like no one's ever going to want that. That is probably one of the biggest use features of our system. It's things like that you would never expect from a B2C experience. Like, can you imagine if at your cart you had a CSV upload on a B2C website? Everyone would be like, what the hell is this? But on a B2B website, it's like just standard. You expect that to be there. The number one crucial thing that we didn't even talk about was logging in and seeing the right price that you've negotiated with that supplier. Like, that is just absolutely fundamental to B2B experiences. Logging in and I'm seeing the price that I know I've negotiated with that supplier, and it's displayed to me on this website.
And everybody, what Alex is talking about there is a price list for each customer.
Right,
Literally
exactly.
That. Which brings me on to another element that we really might, you alluded to it earlier, and we should come back to it, which is there's a whole skill set involved here of negotiation, of relationship building, of being a salesperson and chasing in the sales, which is usually completely foreign to the e-commerce business. Do you find that the brands who are using SparkLayer, are they hiring a specific person to do this for them? Are they adding it into someone's job role? How do they tackle that team as part of the mix?
Yeah, really, really interesting question. It's actually been quite funny for me because as a sales director at a business, the amount of times I end up speaking to sales directors at other businesses now, you sort of like, it's kind of weird. I feel like we're sort of selling to each other, but yeah, no, it is true that a lot of the companies that we work with do have a dedicated sales team and someone who manages that team often as well. So it's pretty common for us to be speaking with a head of e-commerce or an e-commerce director, a sales director or a head of sales, and then also something like a CFO or someone in the accounting team as well, because of the invoicing and quoting and sort of payment elements that come into this type of project. So, but yeah, a sales team is something that is really common within our customer base, and there's often someone who's managing that.
Do you mainly work with, or is it about even between companies who are at the beginning of the journey into B2B sales in general? You know, they've gone, we're only selling to consumers. There's an opportunity here. We want to get it right.
Yeah.
And they're starting that journey. Or companies who already have quite a big wholesale arm, but it's all been offline. As you were saying earlier, it's all on the phone or I say fax. Guys, don't laugh.
It still happens.
Yeah, still very important for some companies in the B2B space who have already got that sales team and that mentality in.
It's both, honestly. And it probably is 50, I would say it probably is about 50-50 split of really strong legacy B2B merchants who have been selling to other businesses for a long time and are coming online for the first time and trying to replicate all of the things that they've been doing offline, but with a website. And then you've got those who are just stepping into B2B for the first time, who have got really successful B2C businesses. They've spotted an opportunity to go and do B2B for the first time, and so they're adding that to either an existing website or they're setting up a separate trade store for those customers. It really is about 50-50 of both, and the challenges are sort of unique for each of them. You can see already that you've got really like long in the tooth sort of systems that people have set up, lots of customer specific price lists. You know, people who've got like 5,000 price lists that they're trying to replicate and bring that onto a website versus those who are just starting out and maybe they've just got one level of discount that they want to offer and they just want to have that for trade customers. You know, the level of complexity behind that is different, but actually the end result is really similar of how that's displayed and the experience that someone's expecting of those two different merchants.
And given that the end customer is the same, it makes total sense that both are coming into the same tech stack because what they're both trying to achieve, but from very different ends, is the same outcome. Alex, what haven't we told the audience about that they need to know about B2B e-commerce?
I think just how fun it can be. I think there's an element of, with B2C, I think you obviously understand your customer and the type of persona that you're going to sell to. And you do get repeat customers, obviously, but you don't know them. And I think with B2B, you get this opportunity to really know the customer, i.e. on a personal level, you can build a relationship with someone who's going to sell your product. And that's so valuable. You get such good feedback from someone who's going to sell your product to other customers, who knows their customer really, really well. I think if I could say one thing about how B2B is a really good opportunity and why someone might want to go and invest in it, honestly, just for that alone and getting the feedback from those other businesses can be really, really valuable. So yeah, I think that's one thing that is kind of overlooked. It's a softer point of selling B2B, and it can be lucrative from, a margin and selling in bulk and all of that kind of stuff. And there is a big market out there, but it can really rapidly help you grow your business just from that feedback from those customers and building those relationships.
It's kind of like you're recruiting a team of market research people to stand on the high street and get feedback about your products, but they're paying you for the privilege.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love that as a point. So thank you so much for bringing that up, Alex. It's been great picking your brains about B2B e-commerce. Listeners, make sure you stay tuned right to the end so you don't miss out on Alex's insider tips on omnichannel expansion and my suggestions for more free resources to help you improve things even further in your business. Shopify recently turned the tables on me and took me from interviewer to interviewee, knowing, as they do, that the most successful retailers today are those that bridge the gap between online and offline and make it a seamless experience. Shopify wanted my thoughts on how to achieve truly connected commerce, particularly in the key areas of local selling, omnichannel selling, and cross-border selling. You can read my thoughts along with other commerce experts from Germany, France, Spain, and Italy by visiting keepopt.com/Shopify and downloading the report. That's keepopt.com/Shopify. Okay, Alex, so far we've gone deep into B2B e-commerce. Now you get to wow us with your insider knowledge about the whole of omnichannel expansion. So for the following questions, your answer can be anything to do with omnichannel, which of course does include everything we've already been talking about. So completely up to you where you go with these. Alex, are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's start with newbie advice. If we've inspired someone to take their first step, what do they need to know to give themselves the best chance of success?
It does probably come back to the point, I've probably made it more than once already actually, but knowing your customer and knowing who you want to sell to is probably my first point of call. So, and this is true from a B2C and a B2B and wherever else you're going to sell, like knowing your customer and how they want to buy and what they're expecting allows you to tailor your product, it allows you to tailor your experience and all of those things, how they want to pay, all the things that they're expecting from your site. So I would say knowing your customer and keeping yourself honest on that on an ongoing basis as well is absolutely true. And what I mean by that is that it's okay saying like, I want to sell to this type of person or this type of business, for example, but getting constant feedback from those customers so that you can keep optimizing that as you move forward is absolutely essential. If you don't do that, then you will probably just die as a business because you won't be fulfilling what your customer wants really.
I would go back to that spreadsheet example. If your customer wants to order by spreadsheet and you don't let them order by spreadsheet, they are not going to make an exception for you in the rest of their buying process.
It's true. And they say that, the customers are fickle, and that it is so true. And nowadays, especially with more customers going online from a B2B point of view, people can just switch supplier so easily these days, which did not used to happen with those legacy B2B customers. So you've got a chance to do it. You've got to meet what the customer wants.
Definitely. Okay, once you've started, of course, you've got to keep optimizing. So what's your favorite way to improve the performance of a B2B or omnichannel, et cetera, et cetera?
I guess in a way, this is kind of almost newbie advice as well, but track data from day one. I think that is something that I would absolutely drill into someone. The more data that you have, basically, the more chance you've got of success in the future, because you can pull reports on it, you can optimize based on it, and then you can basically take action as a result of that data. And if someone's more established and thinking like, I don't really have much data on stuff that I want to make decisions on, now is not too late to start, but you've got to figure out where you're missing it and how you can get it and start making a plan to capture some of that data. And it sounds a bit like wishy-washy to say, well, yeah, what data? But I would literally sit there and think of all of the different metrics that I could potentially track across the business. Which ones am I able to get? Which ones am I not able to get? And then make a plan to start capturing it. Because as I say, if you start from day one capturing as much data as possible, and we do this at SparkLayer as well for our own business, then it allows us to make better decisions about where we want to invest our time and money in the future and which customers perform well and all of that good stuff as well.
I'm guessing for a B2B e-commerce site, that's going to be a little bit different than it would be from a consumer site. So on a consumer site, we're about traffic and conversion rate and average order value, whereas I would assume conversion rate's less important, and there's going to be other factors that come into play that probably aren't from your Google Analytics. They're probably from your back-end system.
Yeah, for sure. Stuff in your ERP, but also things like your sales team close rates, conversion rates, commissions, all of those types of things are important. Average amount of products in the order, for example. Average order value is still something that people track from a B2B point of view as well. Yeah, totally different. But, and even if the metrics are the same, so things like conversion rates could be something that you want to track, the benchmark might be different as well. And so actually, it may even be less about tracking those specific data points in comparison to what you were doing from a D2C point of view, but getting a benchmark of that data and then how it performs over time from a B2B perspective is something that would be interesting to track.
There you go, guys. A quick guide to some of the metrics you might want to be getting to grips with. And Alex, if someone listening wants to learn more, is there a cheap or free resource you would recommend?
I'm actually going to recommend two.
Cool.
One is our own micropaper, so it'd be shameless of me to not do this, but we have a micropaper that we released just a couple of months ago with some really useful advice. It's actually written mostly by our partners for how to get started with B2B, some key considerations. So Simplifying B2B Success is the name of the micropaper. And then our friends at Hakodu, who are a buy now, pay later platform for B2B specifically, also wrote a really good guide on B2B payments, which is very much worth checking out because it can be a bit of a minefield. So I check those two things out.
Cool. We will put links to all of those in the show notes for you guys. So head to that page on the website to get them. How are we spelling Hakodu?
Hokodo.
Hokodo. All the O's, people, if you want to try and get there. But we will put the link to that in the show notes for you too. Loving those two. Quick swatting up on B2B for all of you.
Yeah.
Finally, Alex, crystal ball time. What's coming up in the next 6 to 12 months that we should be getting ready for?
I would definitely say AI. I think it's one of those things that's such a buzzword at the minute. It's everywhere. Like a lot of the systems that we use at SparkLayer are using AI these days as well. So it's been pretty interesting to see that roll out. We don't actually have it as part of our own system, by the way. What I mean is some of the things that we're using internally have started to kind of adopt it. I think it's becoming more and more prevalent in some of the systems that our customers are using as well. In particular, I think there are things like negotiation tools that use AI. People are looking at adopting that from a salesperson point of view. And I guess from a website point of view as well, those types of trends are coming up more as well. If I could say a bit of advice around AI and what might be coming up with it, it's just make sure you've got a really good use case for what you actually want to use it for within whatever system that has got it, and really look into what it's doing and what it's actually saying, especially if it's a chatbot. I've seen some
Yes.
horror stories of chatbots responding to stuff, but I think they are supposed to all learn over time, and so you have to invest a bit of time in AI, and it doesn't just work straight away. So yeah, it definitely feels like it's a bit of a trend that's here to stay. Whether that's good or bad, I can't comment.
Well, you see, I find that the whole AI piece fascinating, that all the noisy stuff a couple of years ago or over the last kind of 12, 18 months has been about generative AI.
Yeah.
And how that's going to change our worlds. But actually, where, as you were just talking about, and as we're increasingly seeing in our industry, the impact is how the tools we're already using are using AI to improve what they offer us.
Mm.
And I think, I don't know if you agree or disagree on this one, but I think that's where we're going to see the results over the next couple of years.
Definitely.
Is improved algorithms and improved automation.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I agree.
Okay, everybody. Alex, we have talked quite a lot about SparkLayer because it's a brilliant piece of tech. So tell us the ins and outs of SparkLayer and where people can get hold of it and get hold of you if they want to find out more.
Yeah, I mean, it will be no surprise that SparkLayer is a B2B system. But we layer on top of an e-commerce platform. So we use all of the best parts of the e-commerce platform, from inventory management, all of that kind of stuff, product information. But we layer on top the B2B information that a customer would need to see when they log in. So all of the pricing rules, different payment options, things like the Excel upload, CSV upload for customers, those types of things are in there as well. That's what we do. We've doing it for about 1,300 customers globally now. So we're just over 2.5 years old as a business. So you can find us at SparkLayer.io, and you can reach me directly if you want to at alex.weston@sparklayer.io.
There you go, guys. So if you have been listening to all of that and going, okay, voucher code on website is not sufficient, then you know how to get hold of Alex and find out how to take the next step with your B2B e-commerce implementation. Alex, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been awesome catching up with you, and you shared so many great bits of insight for the audience. We really love it.
All right. Thanks for having me, Chloe. Appreciate it.
Stonking advice there from Alex. Those are the key things you really need to think about if you're going to go after the B2B wholesale piece. I love his insight on the payment methods, on the website functionality you need, on how those teams are operating, on that really important point about getting to understand your B2B customers. Until you understand who the people are who want to sell your product to their customers, you do not really know how you need to approach the B2B sales space, whether you end up needing to do trade shows, not that we really talked about that, and what functionality you need to give to them. So definitely, even more important than getting to know your e-commerce B2C consumers is to get to grips with your B2B customers. I love that. You can get links to all those things we discussed, the full transcript of the episode, important notes and more at keepoptimizing.com, or use our special direct episode short link. Just put keepopt.com/the number of this episode into the URL bar, and you'll go straight to the right page on the website. When you get to the website, you can also add yourself to our email list, so you don't miss out on any of the other things I share to help you improve your business. And something I mentioned in the episode is I've written an entire book on B2B e-commerce, on all that stuff we were just chatting about with Alex. So if you want to go a bit deeper with it all, then do go and have a look on Amazon for B2B e-commerce master plan by me, Chloe Thomas. It's available in paperback, audiobooks. You'll find it on Audible too, and on ebook. Go grab a copy. Learn about B2B e-commerce a little bit more. Well, look, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Keep Optimizing podcast. This completes our set of episodes about omnichannel expansion, how you can grow your sales by diversifying the channels you sell by. So please have a listen to all those episodes. Either scroll up your podcast feed to find them right now, or use the short link keepopt.com/omnichannel to find all our omnichannel content on the website. Our next masterclass topic is advertising. Yeah, we're squeezing the whole of online advertising into one hot month. So make sure you tune in next Wednesday to catch that, kicking off with Facebook ads, what you need to know, and a very, very special guest. And to make sure you don't miss that, make sure you've subscribed to us or you're following us on your favourite podcast player. And if you know someone who's considering omnichannel expansion or who wants to improve their online advertising, then please let them know we're covering these topics in depth for them, because this show exists to help both you and them improve your businesses. Have a great week, and don't forget to keep optimizing.
Access everything Keep Optimizing at keepoptimizing.com. That's with an S, not a Z.
Don't forget to download Shopify's new industry report featuring my thoughts on how to achieve truly connected commerce, along with other commerce experts from Germany, France, Spain, and Italy by visiting keepopt.com/Shopify.